Alright guys, so today we did take a trade, and I want to go over what's been happening recently. I basically blew all my Express accounts. I had multiple Express accounts and now they're gone. I'm gonna pull up and show you guys that real quick. As you can see here, basically we have multiple back to funding evals, Express accounts is what I meant to say, and then eventually we blew another one. Right now we have a temporary violation on this one because again we lost this trade on the 1 minute. So we're gonna go all the way back and I'm gonna show you guys the trade. So this was the trade I took today, and of course that is not my stop loss placement. This is my stop loss placement. Again, for the proof, I will show you the executions. As you can see, the numbers on the screen right then and there entered right around entered right around here for shorts, and then eventually you can see the stops or the buys got hit right then and there. After blowing all my accounts, I realized one thing, and that one thing was I just internally was undisciplined. The main reason why I blew those accounts, and I even have the trade recap on my laptop of the trades. I bought this combine and then eventually I went over the trades that I took on the Express account because I wasn't able to journal them because they closed those accounts as soon as I blew them, bro. I swear, as soon as you blow an account, they close it, especially if it's an Express account. In terms of an eval, they don't really close it, don't really care. But it was frustrating because again, I realized I wasn't taking the best possible setups. I was gambling, I was doing the wrong thing, and God punished me. He punished me. He basically took it away. He stripped it away from me, and I learned, and I'm growing every single day. And I realized, I have to humble myself because again, the market humbled me. So I have to humble myself and analyze, reflect inward, and tell myself, like, hey, you're not better than the market. Hey, you still have work to do, in terms of like internal reflection and growing as an individual. So let's go over this trade real quick. Let's go from the higher time frame perspective. On the daily time frame, we have been just range bound. So this was oh my gosh, I messed this up. I forgot I had that little magnet. We had this right here, our daily candle range high sweep, and then eventually we also had this low, which again I will eventually mark out on the 4 hour, not on the daily though. On the 4 hour we have this low we can target, to then eventually move us up higher. And then on the 4 hour time frame, we also have that candle range high sweep. On the 4 hour time frame, we were targeting this 4 hour candle range low, which would have been past that. Actually, it would have been somewhere around here, but let's mark this 1 hour sell side objective here, just to show you guys real quick that the market was indeed reaching for that. On the 1 hour time frame here, you can see we also had another form of manipulation above those highs right there, boom. And then we also have this little low on the 1 hour time frame, which we can target. And then let's put this all the way back up like that. 30-minute time frame, we don't really have much, but we do have that sweep again. And then on the 15-minute time frame, again, we have that same thing, which aligns with closely to the 4 hour one. So we also have a form of a buy side imbalance, but again, the market does disrespect it later on because again, we're going to be bearish after sweeping all this. One thing I wish the market did do was form some form of external manipulation here to sweep and then eventually move down lower. I think this would have been more prominent. Again, I've been seeing this a lot more recently in my trading where the market isn't sweeping this, but it is sweeping internal liquidity, and I don't like that. Like we need to sweep external also to then move down lower with speed to then eventually reach our objective. So that's one thing I've been realizing in my lesson log. Just other areas, which is, I don't know why this trade is still here. All right, so so here you can see we were originally targeting more than that. We were targeting somewhere around here. Actually, I don't even know where I was targeting, honestly. I was just targeting 1 to 2, but if I had to be real, this would have been the objective. So on the 1 minute time frame, we had a 1 minute first presented fair value gap, but it wasn't a 931. So again, we have to disregard that fair value gap and that entry, and we have to find a better entry. So let's hide this and let's find let's go back and let's actually analyze our entry. So this is where we took my first trade at 9:30 open. Again, majority of the time 9:30 trades don't work out for me. So again, not trading at 9:30 has been a big help. I'm sorry, I've just been talking so much. Talking to the vlog, talking to this, talking to that, but and yeah, this was the trade. First things first that I did wrong was again the market push down, reach my break-even point. First and foremost, this break-even point is definitely invalid in terms of like, hey, market went, swept that, boom, reversed. We didn't even close below this. It would have been more prominent if the market actually closed below, then we waited for the close instead of entering off of the wick, especially on a 1 minute time frame, bro. Like, come on, you don't have to be that impatient and that greedy. And then eventually on the 5 minute time frame, we also had this right here. So on the 5 minute time frame, you know, once we're holding, we're pushing up, I already knew we got stopped out. I knew this trade was cooked. And in terms of like, hey, what could we have done is wait for these 5 minute change in state of delivery to then eventually look for a trade idea. So this is where the 5 minute change in state of delivery forms right then and there on that candle open. Market what pushes up higher, starts to retrace a little bit, boom, 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 and then it moves down lower, and then it targets that area. I thought about the 3 minute change in state of delivery here, but either way, you would have got stopped out if your stop loss was at the wick. So wasn't ideal. I think the 5 minute one is more prominent because again, you have the 5 minute, you know, fair value gaps right around here, and once you inverse that, then eventually you can see the market reaches the objective really smoothly. So one of the main confluences I was using for this trade was actually you know, volume profile. So this was I didn't mean to do that. This was right here. I just hate how it looks. So this is like the value area low right here, and then this is your value area high, and then this is your point of control right there. So let's just take all this off real quick. So this is your you know, important area. I have it on the other chart. I'll probably load it up for you guys. But yeah, here, you know, the market clearly was holding this area as a form of support and resistance, and the market support and resistance, supply and demand, whatever you want to call it. In terms of my book, I view it as imbalance versus balance. The market is balanced here. The market was imbalanced here. And once the market starts forming balance, you want to see which direction the market wants to push in. So market is consolidating here to breed expansion. That's all it is, you know. And again, I was going over this yesterday with my trade recap that I blew the accounts. I was going in very in depth with how I used after the fact. I was using, you know, order flow concepts, or I mean just volume profile analysis with my trade, you know, and how it aligned with my trade. And of course I'm doing this with the hindsight trades, but the market clearly just was showing a form of balance. And once we had that change in the state of delivery from this candle, which swept that internal high, and then the next candle which swept all that external higher time frame draws, you know, to then eventually move down lower, and then, you know, confirm this move with the change in the state of delivery on the 5 minute and disrespect this, you know, confluence. Because again, if we were going to be bullish, this 5 minute, you know, PDA right here should hold. It should hold, pushes up higher, and then this should be your change in the state of delivery. Not to the downside though. Not to the downside. It should be to the upside here. You know, and using the bearish candle here to then eventually push you up higher, and continue respecting this one right here that you formed when you were retracing basically, and form another one and continue, and then reach this and then target higher prices. But that never happened. The market was clearly bearish. My bias was correct, but the entry and the timing and the execution was incorrect. It was not flawless, which I would have wanted it to be. But again, the 5 minute confluence, changing the state of delivery with the inversion would have been the best entry here, and then stop loss at the rejection blocks, and then this is a negative R. This is a negative R, but if you target a little bit further, you do get a positive R, and you go break even once the market starts to break below here. And that's honestly the best trade idea for me in this possible case scenario to save my trade. So yeah, boom, here's the trade. Boom, the market, you enter there, and then boom, the market continues. So yeah, and then this is like your you know, your next target, which the market probably, if it wants to be bearish, it will continue down here to target this area, and then if not, of course, this low. If you're using like the standard deviation targets, you know, like this is a clear objective that the market will reach for, like right here, like that. You see that there, boom, and then boom. So again, incorporating other concepts like, you know, volume profile, standard deviations into the system, this would have been like, this is the best trade. But delivery, the entry, the timing of it was, you know, just bad. Same thing with stop loss placement. I need to work on that a lot more. And just different entry models. So it could be the change in state of delivery, confirming it, you know, and just other things in general, you know. So this would have been the best trade, and I did, you know, execute it incorrectly, and I wasn't patient, and that's where the market cost me. So again, best case scenario, waiting for this to get inverse to the enter, and that basically did happen here. Waiting for the 5-minute change, and instead of delivery, the market, you know, closed bullishly here, and then the next 5 minutes the market failed to close bearishly. So again, just waiting for the close at market open, and waiting for the close for that inversion, not entering after we reached the break-even point, you know, and just not objective, honestly. Bias is correct, everything is correct, zooming out, going to the higher time frame, not being on the 1 minute, you know, certain things like that where you just know. And that's basically really it for this trade recap. Of course, I'm going to journal this, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, but again, my main goal right now is just internal reflection, learning, you know, and growing as an individual, building myself back up, building those good habits. Of course, I can build already what I have, but I want to add more now. So I want to add more in terms of like internal reflection. I already have everything that I need. I don't need to watch more ICT. I don't need to watch, you know, more Fabio Valentini, more order flow, this, that, you know. I just need to build with what I already have and just get really good at, you know, building my mental structure to see success, you know. That's one of the main things I'm currently dealing with. Is just like, it's an internal battle with these prop firms. The trades could be there. I could have a system. I could have, you know, the best setups, the best playbook. I have it, you know, I have it, but I just don't follow it. I don't follow it. I'm impatient. I'm greedy. You know, having FOMO. I'm doing all these negative habits. These negative thoughts are controlling me. And I just need to build myself back up, and I need to just get better, you know, and use this as, you know, as a learning experience. And, you know, it's a little retracement to then eventually pushes up and break new highs and reach all-time highs. And that's currently what I'm just dealing with right now. So that's basically really it for this trade recap. So yeah, peace.